Thanks for staying with us on Asset Television. This is Issues of the Moment. Let me begin by saying Barka de Salah to all our Muslim faithfuls out there. We all prayed and prayed and prayed that we all had a very, very nice fast period for which everybody had come out of it, and it's now time for celebration. I am not alone in the program. I have a very senior journalist, a broadcaster, Alpha Jagdin, with me. Alpha, you are welcome.
As always, thank you so much for having me. Barka de Salah. Ramadan has come to an end. It's my prayer that the lessons of Ramadan will linger with us even as we move forward. Once more, sir, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Let us begin on a very special Ramadan mood now. The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know, he's a very jovial man. He had some guests yesterday at his villa residence. And for the first time, since he became president, of course it's just about 2 years now, he prayed at the Eid prayer ground here in Abuja. Along with him, there were other Muslim faithfuls in the area. And after that, they had a reception at the villa, where, of course, the FCT minister was there, along with other ministers and big-wig politicians. But in that gathering, aside from other religious leaders, Wike was the only PDP man there, because he, of course, is the FCT minister. Let us just give you what Mr. Tinubu said at that reception.
Eid Mubarak.
All right, Muslims have gone through this obligation for 29 days. What will be your message to them?
Well, we should give thanks to Almighty Allah. We saw the beginning, we started together, and we are ending together in good health and in happiness, in prayers for our country, for all our people. We should continue the good deed as taught by the holy month of Ramadan. Care for the vulnerable, the orphans, the less privileged, everything that we have observed. We should not revert to the path that is not acceptable with the teaching of this man. That's what I pray for. Thank you very much. The Vice President, the National Security Advisor, our landlord, the Honorable Minister of FCT, our Master of Infrastructure, yes, Wike, thank you very much today. My Lords, Chiefs, Grand Qadi, Sharia Court of Appeal and President of the Customary Court of Appeal, all area council chairmen, senior government officials, political leaders, stakeholders in FCT, all religious leaders, traditional rulers.
All right, you heard what the president said about the entire event. In fact, he narrowed that reception to paying eulogies to Wike, and saying that Wike has encouraged him that APC is going to win the next election in FCT. And Wike replied saying that the president, having given him the authority And removing the FCT from single treasury account was what did the magic. How would you want to respond to this?
Well, that's a very good one. The bottom line is that anytime politicians have the opportunity of meeting like this, so much happens. But in your earlier remarks, you did make mention of the fact that he really eulogized the current FCT minister. You know, if we look at what they did, we were made to understand that one of the conditions that Wike gave him to serve the administration in the capacity he's serving today is if he can put him on the first line charge.
Which he did.
Which he did. And I think it's one of the best things that happened, if for anything, for the FCT. And of course, the man running the affairs of the FCT is a man that is given to projects. He's a man that wants to leave, you know, prints in the sands of time. And there's no gainsaying that he is using the opportunity so accorded him judiciously. The Federal Capital Territory is changing. Literally everywhere you go, you see something new. Now, if we are to go back, could it be that the lackluster performance of previous ministers was because of budgetary allocations that probably were never released? Or is it that they were just...
But they were not complaining.
Well, they didn't complain.
In fact, look at the minister before Wike came.
For 8 years...
For 8 years, he never even signed one plot of land.
Well, that's what we were told, but somebody said towards the end of his tenure that he did. You understand? He did sign for cronies, he did sign for friends, and what have you. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But the bottom line is that did he do well? He did not.
He did not.
But, you know, in the life of a nation, just like in the life of individuals, there is always change, because change is that thing that... But what is most important is we must also look at who is going to be the driver of that. Because I can assure you there are people that if you put them on the first line charge, beyond even abusing it, we may not even see any changes. But I want to commend the FCT minister for what he's doing. I want to commend the president for appointing him. And I hope that every support he needs. You know, El-Rufai was able to do what he did in the FCT during his time because President Obasanjo gave him the needed support. Yes. Devoid of such support, I can assure you that El-Rufai couldn't have...
And again, they were in the same party.
They were in the same party. Things were good. El-Rufai was, you know, a kind of doing what he needed to do because he had the president's backing. And hence, everybody that has been saddled with one responsibility or another, the president must understand that he must give them the total support they need. And we have seen that funding is a critical sector of that, you know, support that is needed, just like what is happening in the FCT. So to a large extent, I think it's a good one, and I hope that subsequent administrations will continue.
Well, politically, we don't even know where to place Wike himself, because if you want to talk about the APC, we don't know, he has not attended their meetings, but also in his party, the PDP, he also has problems. He's having problem with the former vice president. He has problem with El-Rufai. Everywhere. But
well, you see, this is politics, and as far as politics is concerned, it's a give and take thing. I want to call on the FCT minister to a kind of slow down. He has
slow down politically.
No. To a kind of, you see, the intrigues are such that it's not giving him the best of opportunities to even deliver. Are you an APC member? Are you a PDP member? The bottom line is he's a Nigerian. Is he performing? Yes, he's performing. But we also need to know where he belongs. There's nothing wrong in an APC administration calling a member of the PDP to come and serve.
So long as you have the qualities and you can deliver.
That's the whole idea. And hence my clarion call to him is he should kind of lower the tempo. The crisis in the PDP need not be. I'm so ashamed to say that the PDP scattered sooner than the APC took over. Of course, a lot of people cross-carpeted, as is typical of your average Nigerian politician. But Wike is a man that has written his footprints, in the sands of time. And hence he should know that history will judge him based on what he does today. And hence my clarion call is, wherever there is any kind of conflict, wherever there is any kind of crisis, let them see that this crisis is brought, to its barest minimum, so that opposition will put the current administration also on its toes. That's why we have multi-party democracy.
Let's talk about that PDP issue now. When you talk about PDP, because Wike has crisis with his godson back home in Rivers State. Will you want to attribute it to what has transcended into the national level of the party?
Well, you see, the bottom, of course, it's part of it. But you see, the crisis he's having with his godson is needless. It's needless.
Very, very needless.
Wike as a person, there are several videos to back what I'm about to say. He said immediately he leaves Rivers, whoever takes over from him, he will allow the person perform. And I would have thought that he should have kept to his words. But the crisis that is going on in Rivers State today that has even brought about the state of emergency, leading to the suspension of the governor, the state assembly, and even political appointees by the current administration.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, things like that tends to slow down the tempo of progress. I mean, it's about the development of the people. It's about the development of Rivers State. Rivers State is the goose we hear that lays the golden egg for the country. A place like that, I understand why the opposition will want to take over a place like that, but there are better ways of doing it. If you look at what is happening at the national level, of course, part of what is happening at home is what has transcended into the national level. But it ought not to be so.
And it's still going higher because the former SSG.
Yes.
To look, the drama that is playing in Rivers State on Rivers State issues.
That's right.
The drama is becoming advancing to advancing. You see, look at the SSG, who we are told, of course, reliably told it was boundary to Abuja, giving a script to read, indicting Fubara.
It's sad.
And the wife now said, my husband has been kidnapped. He came out and said, nobody kidnapped him. And can you imagine that somebody who is right thinking is being held up somewhere in Transcorp Hilton? That is the politician now. Let us give them a breather and go to another very, very touching issue. A few days ago, we heard about some hunters, northern hunters, Ariwa hunters, that were being killed. 16 of them killed in Uromi. In fact, so many Nigerians have already been talking to condemn this situation, including another politician, Francis Onabis, who in a statement, in a very strong statement, a tearful statement, condemned every act that took place in that place. In fact, he even said that some of the reasons that caused those things because of youth, the youths have not been taken care of. One, he talked about the youth, bad roads, insecurity. Francis Onabis is also calling for community policing. What will you want to say?
Well, you see, the bottom line is that I join all Nigerians in condemning that wanton, brutal act that happened a few days ago. You don't take what you cannot give. Life is sacrosanct. Whatever religion you adhere to, you must respect the sanctity of life. Life is given by God, and life should be taken by God. You saw people with 10 guns. You saw people...
No, according to them, they also had AK-47, of which AK-47 or any other assault rifle is not a hunting gun.
It's not a hunting gun, right? But it doesn't... So how do you prove it now? How do you prove it
there
now?
are pictures of it?
These people are... But these people are dead.
They are dead.
You're quoting them. These people are dead. The bottom line is that the real and the most acceptable thing to do is that if you catch somebody with an assault rifle that should be in the armory of the military,
Yes.
or law enforcement.
Take him to the police.
Take him to law enforcement. You don't take the laws into your hands. If we were to go by jungle justice, we eventually will make or create the kind of anarchy that we cannot contain. That sincerely is my position.
Yes.
Looking at what Onabis have said,
Yes.
there is no gainsaying our roads are in a deplorable state. Youth restiveness is such that we need to do something about it, because we need to engage our youth.
Onabis is also saying here about unemployment, breakdown of traditional institutions.
There is so much that has gone wrong. Parenting has gone south. The very basic virtues of life that a particular generation that I belong to was brought through, I can assure you it's no longer what it is today. During our time, virtue was the mainstay. Honesty, character, cleanliness, love, godliness, unity, purpose. These were some of the things that as parents they made sure they bequeathed to upcoming generations.
And let me tell you, Francis Onabis himself is from Edo State. I think that is why he's so angry that this thing has to happen in his own state.
Now, I will
And
also...
let me give you the solution he profiled. Community policing, invest in youth, improve roads, security structures to be strengthened, and there must be political will to do all this.
Well, you see, the political will to do that, I believe it is possible. If we are to go back to what we talked about initially in the course of this program, let's not forget that a particular man was singled out during the Salah celebrations to say you have done well.
You have done well.
Now, there was a political will to bring about a change that was never there, if it were okay. Now, being from Edo State and condemning this act is a good thing. But every other Nigerian should condemn it. Whether you're from Lagos, whether you're from Maiduguri, because you see, we have a problem that quite often we don't try to address. Oh, it happened in Edo, it doesn't matter. It's an Edo problem.
Yes.
Oh, it's happening in Zamfara, it doesn't matter, it's a Zamfara problem. Oh, it's happening in the Northeast, it doesn't matter, it's a Northeast. It should not be. The bottom line is that if you don't nip it in the bud, it will eventually become a monster that you may not be able to handle. And hence, we must condemn such acts and also call on the state to make sure that whoever was responsible for this does not go scot-free.
14 of them we learned have been arrested.
Well,
so what they will do to them, we don't know.
The bottom line is that the law is there.
Yes, and more will be arrested.
Well,
because IG, the Inspector General of Police, has set up a special squad to go after these culprits.
You see, what the IG should have done was to have gone to that place. There is no point sitting down in Abuja here and asking probably the AIG or EIG or commissioners to. He should have gone there. If he had gone there himself, it would have made a statement that this kind of behavior is such that cannot be tolerated.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, the IG himself should have been on ground to drive that process.
Yeah, we leave that one there now and we also, let me say, we thank Mr. Francis Onabis for his concern about his state and about his people, and we encourage him to do more. Let us go to Professor Humphrey Nwosu now, the man who conducted one of the best elections so far in the annals of Nigeria. And National Assembly said they can only honor him with 1 minute silence. Not even naming a facility, the complex he built in Metama after him. So what will you say about that?
You see, when this issue came to the fore, I had arguments for and against. But you see, for me, yes, he conducted one of the free and fairest elections Nigeria ever had. About 12 million Nigerians who were made to understand participated in that polls. He did not declare the results. Why? Because
he was stopped.
said he should not declare.
Yes. The results
you
were
know-
ready, but he was stopped from declaring.
May his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
My condolences to his family and those that were closely associated with him. But I need to say something. Professor Humphrey Wosu went quiet for the last 32 years.
Yes.
Immediately after that thing, somebody said he relocated abroad. I don't know.
Yes.
Somebody said
he went to America.
Somebody said he relocated overseas. The bottom line is that I wish, and I would love to ask, for 32 years, he went silent. I think the last time I heard something about him was when he launched a book or something, or he was at a book launch or something.
Yes.
I also was told
Yes.
he has been granting interviews.
I hosted him
Oh,
on a
okay.
program.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, where he gave me an autographed copy of the book
cool.
that I still have today.
Oh, that's good. That's good. But the point I'm trying to make is that for the last 32 years, he's literally been quiet.
Yes.
Have Nigeria as a country tapped, gained from such a wonderful man's experience?
That is another thing there.
That's another thing. Do you understand? Probably to placate, so that we can move forward. Because this thing has now taken an ethnic coloration. Probably so that we move forward. It is within the strength of Mr. President to honor, even if it is the INEC headquarters after him.
That is it. That's what
But
they,
don't forget that he is not the first INEC chairman we're having. Somebody conducted the 79 election
Yes.
and subsequent elections too. June 12 became what it is because of
The controversies that surrounded it.
circumstances that followed that
Yes.
election. But the bottom line for me is that they should go ahead and honor him so that we can move forward as a country. But the bottom line is that the for and against tendency will just further polarize us as a country. Hence my clarion call is, Mr. President, go ahead and honor him.
It even last week it even caused the Senate caucus from the southeast to walk out of the chambers because when one of their own colleagues said we can only honor Professor Nwosu with 1 minute silence. Was that not too belittling?
Well, that was too belittling actually. But that goes to also tell you something, that probably the consultation that should have taken place before that
Time.
Never
Never took place.
never took place, because probably it was just the Southeast Caucus that sat down and decided to make a case for this.
They
I
didn't
would
lobby.
I would have thought that they should have lobbied their colleagues in such a manner that this thing shouldn't have become an issue. It doesn't take much. It's just moving a motion, adopting that motion, advising the government, kindly honor this illustrious son of ours for conducting one of the free and fairest elections in Nigeria. So, in my opinion, the Southeast Caucus did not do due diligence before we got to where we got to.
Okay, let's move on now as we round up with issues concerning the recall of Natasha Akpoti-Odoaga.
Well, you see, it's such a sad thing. Worse things have happened on the floor of the National Assembly. Let me begin by saying the Akpabio-Natasha thing, all right? I'm neutral. Because sadly, what started like a normal procedural what have you in the floor has brought out so much. Some true, some definitely not true. Some founded, definitely some unfounded. And can you see that the life of this nation in the last 1 month has been fixated on that? We have better problems to deal
I'm
with.
sure over the weekend you watched or you saw what she released on her social media handle.
To be very honest with you, for my mental health and for my sanity, I have tried as much as possible to stay away from that drama, to be very honest with you. But asking for her recall, I think is going too far. It is the
Thank
same
you.
Senate, hold on, it's the same Senate that Talks walked in, took the mace, and fled.
Fled.
A particular former Deputy Senate President was Omoagegi. He wasn't recalled. And in fact, nobody even asked for his recall. Now, because this lady is having an issue with the Senate
Senior
President,
President.
political gladiators.
The man who sent prayers into mailboxes.
Well, political gladiators want her out so that certain interests may probably take her place. After all the struggle the lady went through, if I knew the senator, talking about Natasha now, if I knew her as a person, I would have sought audience with her, and I would have advised her from the very beginning that, in my opinion, step down. Because you're dealing with guys who understand this game probably better than you do. Always look at the bigger picture when it comes to this kind of things. Whatever transpired in a personal capacity between you and this man, don't allow it come and affect your political. Because now you tell me, this whole Natasha Akpabio.
You think she will be better if she steps down?
No, it's late. It's late. At this point, it's late. There is no point stepping down. Let's just see how things play out. I would have thought that ab initio, when this whole thing started brewing, because see, there were people that were fanning the embers of discord from both ends. There were people saying, push this way, push this way, push this way, push this way. But I still stand my grounds. If I knew her as a person, I would have advised her against going forward with this thing.
No, but now look at the recall process. Now INEC is saying that the recall process is even costlier than conducting a fresh election.
Well, you see, the whole idea is that INEC can say whatever it wants.
Because they are also going to use beavers to authenticate the cards.
We understand that. We understand that. We understand that. But my problem is, I wish we could just go back to status quo. Whatever the legal battles are, whatever the emotional, let's see if we can heal and move on. Because the bottom line is that you see sexual harassment as an issue. It's everywhere. There's no gainsaying. It's everywhere. But how do we make sure that we bring it to its barest minimum?
Well,
could it be that an issue like this
one man's meat being another man's poison? Over the weekend, I also saw a video from Ghana Parliament where the women in the parliament were saying they were all there and the men are not harassing them, the men are rather harassing their daughters. What a big way to round it up there until we come your way again. Jack Dana, thank you so much.
As always, thanks for having me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.